After being in the IA group, it changed my life because I felt not alone anymore. And I started to open up to people in the group, and that my secret started to dissipate in a safe environment. One of the things I realised in the support groups that it was all parents, and there was adults there, but we were sort of held back from what we were talking about. So I took the initiative and I decided to create our own group called Adults Living with Imperfect Aims. And it's been life-changing for so many people. We originally started with 3 people, and now we've got 156 people worldwide who've joined our group. It's a secret group, and you have to, I'm the admin, so I keep a pretty straight line with it, so don't get any bodges coming in. And every one of the 156 people had never met anyone else. We've got people from age 18 to 78 worldwide. So, and that led me to join a group called the Pull-Through Network in America, and they had a conference in Orlando last year, which I went to, and it was amazing. It was the first time I could walk into a room and I felt like I was an equal. That led to, I did a presentation there. I met a guy by the name of Dr. Mark Levitt. As Sebastian was saying before, he's part of this network of colorectal surgeons. And Mark Levitt's sort of like the leading person across the world. And he was taken by my story. He then came to Melbourne, and what Sebastian was saying about the talk I did last year, well, Dr. Levitt and his crew were there. And then they were telling me there was a trip, they were doing a conference in Paris. I'd only just been away, and I thought, how am I going to afford this? But out of a fluke of nature, when North played Footscray 6 weeks earlier, I thought we're in trouble here, and Footscray was 35-1. I had $50 on them for the premium pressure, so I won 1,700. So I could afford to pay for the trip, with Mum and Dad's help, of course, which led me to get to Paris. So this is on 14th of November last year. I just arrived in Paris. I caught the Eurostar train over. I thought I had everything under control with my tummy. As soon as I got to Paris, I had a bowel accident. So I then had to organise myself within an hour and a half from having that accident and then getting to the conference and standing in front of 250 people. But I did it because that's what I'm used to. As I was sitting there awaiting my turn to give my presentation, I didn't feel anxious at all. It was pure excitement and anticipation. Part of me was feeling that I lived my whole life just for this moment. I knew I was just doing it for myself. I wasn't just doing it for myself, but I felt very strongly that I was doing it for all the IA kids and adults all over the world. I was their voice today, and I was determined to make sure it was conveyed in a clear and succinct way. As an overwhelming majority of the medical professionals in attendance were involved in only paediatric care, I felt it was important they hear the truth and the realities of someone who has lived the physical and emotional IA ride for 53 years. I gave my 20-minute PowerPoint presentation and speech to over 250 surgeons, doctors and nurses. I included the story about the bowel accident that I had 2 hours earlier, just to make it real. Because that, for me, that showed that the paediatric surgeons that it's just not a child accident issue, it's a lifelong condition. I used an analogy that IA is a lifelong condition, but it's not a life sentence. The response was overwhelming to my absolute shock. Once I finished my presentation, the whole audience started to applaud loudly and then turned into a standing ovation for over a minute. I couldn't believe what was happening. So in shock, I took my iPhone out of my pocket and took a photo of the audience. They must have thought I was being extremely self-indulgent. But all I wanted was to capture that moment because I hadn't experienced anything like that in my life and I wanted to have a tangible memory. To be accepted and lauded by such luminaries of the paediatric colorectal facility was an incredible experience. I've got to thank Sebastian because I asked him if he could take a photo of me up the stage. He was there. I left Paris the next day and while sitting alone in the Eurostar travelling to London, I could but reflect on the last 4 months and what I had experienced. From the depths of the darkest depression, this parochial boy from the suburbs of Melbourne had travelled to Orlando for a PTN conference, celebrated in New York, been feted in London and now in Paris. I had been fortunate to meet other IA adults, IA kids and their parents, and establish a personal connection with leading paediatric colorectal surgeons from across the world. I was assisting by raising IA awareness and providing advocacy and support to the IA online community. I couldn't help but think that even though I've considered myself a failure ever since I had to accept a disability support pension 6 years ago, maybe things do happen for a reason. The failure of my mental health and the stigma for over 53 years was now the catalyst for generating change. I was between London and Paris by myself on a train, and it appeared to me that maybe, just maybe, I could allow myself to feel confident that I am on the same level as others. It had been a long journey. Let me have a drink. Okay, so just about the end of me. I just want to thank Sticks for being the MC and his the way he talked about the book when it first came out was, that really struck a chord with Les and myself, and we knew that if I was going to have this, Sticks was going to be a great person to talk about because he was really passionate about it. Thanks Sebastian and Dennis, once again. Thanks the Shimo of the Century for letting us use your venue. This is magnificent, Glenn, I really appreciate it. I've got to thank a few other people, especially my medical friends. You might have seen above here, there's been a roll-in and there's 10 medical doctors and people that have helped me over the journey. Unfortunately, there's 3 of them here tonight. Dr. Connor Tropoulos, Dr. Dustin Kelly and Dr. Ajay Pachala. So I just want to thank them for everything that they've done to me. And especially Con and Dr. Pachala, they've helped me with the emotional side of things incredibly. It's just, I can't thank them enough. Okay, so finally, if I can ask Mum, Dad, Brad, Peter, Archer and Jack just to step up. This is where it's going to be hard to keep it all together. I just want to thank, everyone knows what the family have done to me, for me, and done to me. And I think it's been harder on them than it has on me, me writing this book, and because, they've actually found out a lot of things that they didn't realise that had been going on in my life. So I just want to thank them for everything. When I do my speeches or my presentations, I always finish off with a poem that I've written. So I'll do that again today. I was born with a condition that no one else could see, so I kept it as a secret and hid the real need. To deal with its stigma or to try and explain, I knew would be too hard and just cause me more pain. I learned to live with it by taking each day by day, even with the knowledge that would never go away. I got on with my life with the hand I got dealt and adapted and adjusted no matter how I felt. I'd be lying if I said it's been an easy ride, but I'm proud to say I've been able to survive. Then after 50 years, the time came to be that I unveiled my secret to those close to me. It was a shock to everyone as they had no idea at all, but it made me feel proud as I opened up and stood tall. And it made me realise that with all my struggles and fight, I'm proud of what I've achieved living a secret life. Thank you.
Somebody doing the first book launch, you've done a pretty good job, and you're no longer the shy, retiring person that I first met. But before we change our glasses and drink a toast to our secret life, has anybody got a comment or a question they'd like to ask on the floor? Apparently somebody...
Les, can you just come up here?
Well, no, where is he?
Les. Les.
Alright, well listen, as Les makes his way up, ladies and gents.
Here's Les, who's helped me with the book, and he's been fantastic.
Unfortunately, I've also been causing a nuisance up the back. A good friend of mine who was very keen to be here tonight collapsed up there, so I'm really apologise for those noises in the background as we were launching the book. Look, I probably would add only the fact that it's been an inspirational trip for me as well. When Greg gave the 900 pages that he had written to me, I knew it was too big for me to edit that 900 pages, but I certainly saw that there was a story there. It also struck me that it wasn't just a story about this particular congenital aberration. It is actually a story about many of us who hold secrets, whether it's because our dad is punching up our mum, or whether it's because of the fact that that there's too much alcohol or something else that's been used in a particular family, whether you happen to be gay or transsexual or what have you. All of us probably are guilty of hiding secrets that if we can share them, they become a lesser load. And I think the book actually makes a bloody good read for all sorts of people who are actually simply saying, I don't want to be like this anymore. Incredible act of bravery, and I mean, one of the things that Sebastian and I were talking about today was, as soon as we mention our private parts, we all know exactly what we're talking about. And while they stay private and outside the conversation, we are probably going to stuff up more lives. It would be horrible to think that that's necessary. Greg is going to single-handedly transform the way things are done right across the globe, I believe. Apparently it's 1 in 2,000 in India, for various reasons that Sebastian told us today. There are obviously, right across Asia, there are people, kids that are still dying the day they are born because of this particular illness, because we do not want to talk about it, and because obviously they don't have the skill that we have in the first world. So the fact that there will be more and more people talking about this, that is like, I don't know, Greg mentioned the fact that we've got, someone from Russia has bought a book on Amazon. People from right across the world are actually sort of saying this is of importance to us because we're part of that 1 in 5,000 or 1 in 4,000 or 1 in 2,000, and we need this to change. If it changes people who have suffered from IA, fabulous. If it changes the rest of us, and we can start thinking about how do we actually share our secret with somebody else who can actually support us and have confidence of doing that we're not going to be laughed at, then you can have more Greg Ryans, and that would be a fabulous thing. Thank you.
Okay. I'd like everybody to join me and be upstanding, charge your glass, and I'd like to join me in drinking a toast to Greg and his secret life and its success. Your secret life.
Thank you. Thanks for everyone for coming. Hope I've gone around and seen everybody. Oh, can I just before I go, I've just noticed a gentleman that I hadn't, he said he might come, but I just wanted to thank him. Dr. Mark Walterfang. He's been my psychiatrist for the last 5 years, and he has been. When Dr. Hocking retired, I was in desperate straits, and I had to go and see Con all the time, and he thinks, we'd better get a replacement, and he put me on to Dr. Walterfang, and I see him every 2 weeks, and he just keeps me level, and I just wanted to acknowledge him as well. Thank you.